Greetings, greetings, greetings. I'm all about solutions. All about solutions. I'm not here to perpetuate any problems. Not here to tell you about a problem without offering you some form of a solution. And a lot of people aren't like that. See, a lot of people, they're just into this whole media thing, and they want to be some type of media representative and some type of media spokesman where they just want to talk about a lot of problems so they can get a whole bunch of hits and clicks or a whole bunch of followers, whatever the case may be, but they're not really trying to heal you or offer any solutions. A lot of people, they just want to be popular, they just want to be seen. They just want to be seen on the television and things of that nature, but at the end of the day, they're not really trying to offer you any type of solutions. I come from a strong bloodline of solution-oriented people. That's what we are. We are solution-oriented people. And we're not type of people that, those people that know my history, you can go study my bloodline. It's very, a lot of you know, so I'm not going to go into all of that here of who, like the type of people I'm related to and all of that, but we're solution-oriented people. Yeah, I'm related to people that may be considered popular, but not popular because of the fact that, they're some model or, they're popular because of the fact that, they made it on some television show and that's what makes them popular. I'm not popular because of that. Or not even me, but I'm saying my bloodline and where we come from, we're not popular because of that. We're popular because of the fact that we want to affect change here on this grid. At the end of the day, we want to affect change here in this particular, if you want to call it the matrix, if you will. So I'm bringing all this up because you guys know coming up, there's going to be, supposedly, according to all these people, it's supposed to be this economic meltdown. We're entering into a new fiscal year in business really soon, and there's supposed to be a lot of changes in reference to the economy. And a lot of people have been talking about it. A lot of people are freaking out on many different levels. And I'm not saying what they're stating isn't true, but you have to go to the root of the problem. And a lot of people are not willing to go to the root of the problem. And at the end of the day, the root of the problem, as far as this whole economic meltdown and the things that are going to take place, has nothing to do with, I guess, the lack of money or the lack of resources. It has nothing to do with it. You have to ask yourself, if everything's going to melt down in this economy, why? And the reason why is because we live in a monopoly-based economy at the end of the day. Yeah, that's right. This is all just play money. This is all you guys are playing. This is monopoly money. This is what you would call a corporate fiction. This isn't real. This is fake. So at the end of the day, anything that's a game, every game has to end at the end of the day. And that's what this is over here. The whole concept of capitalism is a game being played with people's lives, and it's been being played with people's lives, and now it's all coming to an end because people are waking up. Consciousness is what's causing the economic meltdown. People becoming more aware of things. And that's what's causing the economic meltdown, because the root of this game and this play about monopoly and things of that nature is, it all goes back to land. It all goes back to trust names that tie into land at the end of the day. And young people are waking up to the truth. So people asking me, so what are you going to do about this whole starseed movement? You said that, you were going to do something in September for starseeds, and what is this all about? And, what exactly are you going to do? What can you do outside of just, make YouTube videos and things of that nature? And you guys don't realize the mind is powerful. The mind is powerful. I don't have to go out here and lead a protest of people, and go march up to DC and do all of that type of stuff. We are occultists. You see, I come from a Native American background, a Native American bloodline. We perform rituals to affect change. We can call on our ancestors sitting right in the middle of a room somewhere to affect change, and I've done it many times in my own life. So I know that it works. So I'm the type of person where I'm not going to sit up here. You guys are mundane and physical. You guys thinking that, I'm going to go out here and lead up a bunch of protesters to go do X, Y. I don't have to do any of that. Like at the end of the day, if you harm my family, my bloodline, I can get you from the spirit plane. And at the same time, anything that I want to change on a positive level as well, I can do from the spirit plane. I don't need to do any of that type of stuff. Leading protests and marches and all that type of stuff. So what I want to do for the star seeds ties in with this economic problem that we're saying, that this meltdown is going to happen or whatever, because what's happening is that slowly but surely you have one group of people that wants to go more into nationalizing the economy, and then you have another group of people that want to continue to play the monopoly game and be slaves and clients to these banks. That's what it comes down to. And those particular people that don't want to go into nationalizing the economy, a lot of them don't want to do it because of the fact that they don't see how their bloodline can tie into land over here. So therefore they feel like they're not going to have any place and they're not going to be able to get any money, so they're against nationalizing the economy. I told you guys about this months ago, that eventually the world is going to have to go back to the gold standard, because that's the only true money is gold. And when you start talking about nationalizing any economy, this is leading to going back to the gold standard. So that's what's going on with this particular economic shift that's going on. And it's really a good thing. Like, look at how cheap gas prices are and stuff like that. Gas prices wouldn't be that cheap if they didn't have that deal that they was doing with Cuba. That's what that's all about. They did a deal with Cuba, and Cuba allowed them to put an embassy there, and they worked out a deal. And that's real life economics and business. You see, they working with the indigenous, and it's restructuring things. And only people that's really talking all this fear about the economy going to go on a meltdown and all this type of stuff, that's just people that's just trying to scare you, man. Because at the end of the day, these politicians and the people, the powers that be that are running things, they know how to restructure this economy and turn it into a nationalized economy. The only thing it really is that we have to sacrifice. It's kind of like we got to make an investment so that we can stop importing in so much, and we have to make an investment and build up in our own backyard versus importing in so many resources and things of that nature. But in order for us to do that, we're going to have to make deals with certain Native Americans and certain indigenous people that hold certain land claims over here. And it's a group of jealous people that are mad because they feel like their name might not be on the land, or they feel like they're not going to get nothing out of it, and they don't want to see so-called poverty-stricken people come up, because that's what's going to end up happening. The people that are poor and things of that nature, they're going to be the ones that, at the end of the day, end up benefiting from this nationalization of the economy thing. So the people that's hating and trying to put all this fear out about the economy's been meltdown and all of that and X, Y, and Z in September, they just hating because they're going to lose stake in, the whole slavery game is going to end. They're going to lose stake in controlling people's lands without paying them shit for it at the end of the day. So when you ask me what I want to do for the star seeds, I have a simple ritual for you guys to help. And this is for anybody. It don't matter what race you are, what color you are, anything like that. It's not about that, because there's many Native Americans that are pale. That as long as you got an eighth of that blood in your bloodline, you consider Native American. So it's not about a white or black thing or whatever. As long as you can legally tie yourself to a certain name that goes back to this particular Dawes roll system that I was talking about a couple videos back, or actually last video, as long as you can trace your name and yourself back to that, you still will be entitled to certain monies. It's just like when they do these structured settlements and these people, and they say, well, if your ancestor or somebody that was in World War II suffered from some type of lung problem because they were shipped off to a war, you're entitled to $1 billion lawsuit or $1 billion settlement plan. And call this number because we're getting ready to sue, and all this, these billions of dollars are going to be freed up. Where do you think that money's coming from? Why would they give you some money for something that your ancestor did? You didn't get affected from it, because this deals with you aligning yourself with certain ancestral names. And if you can trace yourself back to that name or to that particular ancestor, then they have to give you a payment or a settlement because of certain contracts. Anytime your ancestors sign a contract to do anything, and if that, no matter what happens with that contract, you're entitled to reparations, whatever the case may be, or you're entitled to funds based off of anything that happens with that contract later on in the future, or like based off they may have signed it back in the 30s and 40s or whatever, and then say for instance something comes up where some people do some research and they found out, hey, this was bogus and you guys owe us X amount of dollars or whatever. My ancestor signed off for this, but really he was supposed to gotten that, so there was a difference. What happened to the difference? And you're owed the difference. And this not only is dealing with lawsuits and settlements, this goes down to land. So there were certain land and things like that certain Native American families didn't get. And if you could trace yourself back to as being a Native American, then you are entitled to be a part of this new nationalized economy that's coming. That's what all of these politicians are rallying for, whether it's Donald Trump, whoever the case is going to be, Jeb Bush, or whoever wins, or Hillary Clinton, whoever wins. At the end of the day, they all trying to move towards this agenda to nationalize the economy, to build a train system that, goes across the U.S. and is not owned by foreigners. Because at the end of the day, it's like we give all of our money out to foreigners. All of our products are produced by foreigners. So at the end of the day, these different politicians, they're trying to basically make it to where we doing everything in-house. That's how you got to look at it. It's like a business. So I encourage you, this is going to be very important. So if you want to offset all these problems, like I said, I'm all about solutions. If you want to offset all these economic problems that's coming, you need to partake in a simple ritual with me. Simple ritual. And you need to figure out where your ancestors come from before September the 16th. Why do I say September 16th? Because there's a Mercury retrograde coming in with the new fiscal year. And this is telling you that that's serious. Mercury's going to be retrograde with this new fiscal year, so that's letting you know at the end of the day that there's going to be a lot of economic problems. It's going to be in Virgo too. There could potentially be a lot of economic problems for people this year, this business year. And it's not going to just affect individuals, but I'm talking about companies. You see, I'm talking about governments. These are all mini corporations. The U.S. is a corporation. This can affect a lot of people if we don't manage this situation correctly. And it's simple. It all comes down to certain people that know their bloodline are not going to allow you to steal resources from their land anymore. People just ain't having it no more. And they finna die for that. Like, they finna die for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. They're not going to just allow governments to come in and just build stuff. They want to build this railroad system that goes across the country or whatnot. Guess what? You got to pay. That's land you're talking about. Build over people's land. You got to pay a certain amount of money to certain families, things of that nature, Native American families and names, if you want to do things like that. Like, we want to produce our own oil and our own gold and things of that nature. Gold can go down. We could be on the gold standard right now. We got enough gold to back all of our currency from between Texas and California. The thing is that they don't want to give the original holders of Texas and California their money. The original families that hold land claims on those lands. The people that can trace themselves back. You got these jealous bankers, these people playing monopoly money that don't want to give these people their just due. So I'll tell you this, you can change things with the power of thought, just knowing who you are. So figure out who you are. What tribe do you come from? It doesn't matter if you don't have family that traces back to Native American ancestry here, because guess what? Native Americans always offer treaties to people. I'm a Native American. I'll offer you a treaty. That's right, I can offer you a treaty straight through the internet nowadays. You can do business through the internet nowadays. You don't have to meet people to do this stuff. So I can offer you a treaty straight up just through the internet. And I can tell you more about that later on or whatever, but it's not about black or white and all of that. Yeah, a lot of the Native Americans were melanin dominant beings, and things of that nature, but it's not about that because they do business. We do business with people from all over. You may have a family line that goes back to West Africa that has resources tied in with it in Nigeria or somewhere, or over in Europe, and you may have different ties with banks or something like that. We may need your help to put our money into a bank, and your family name may have been tied into banks because a lot of the European bloodlines go back to banks and things of that nature. So we may want to form a treaty so we can have somewhere to put our money in. We just got land in our name over as Native Americans. You see, I know who I am. I'm a Yamasee. That's what I guess you say, like, what set you claim? That's where gangbanging comes from and all of that type of stuff, because we naturally were into tribes and cliques. I'm a Yamasee. I don't consider myself a Cherokee because, I mean, it's the same thing. And I've tried to explain this to somebody before or whatever, but they get so upset. Oh, you're a Cherokee. We don't know about no Yamasee. What's that? You're just making up something. Go look it up. Seminoles, Cherokees, and all that fall up under the Yamasee tribe, the Yamasee Nation. And we had a treaty with the Wachita Nation, but actually I got both in my bloodline. On one side of my family is Wachitas, and the other side is Yamasee's. So we already have a deal. You see, with many different governments or whatever at the end of the day, but that's a whole other story. But I'm saying, you being conscious and knowing who you are, that's how I got to where I'm at. I know a lot about astrology and things of that nature, and star constellations and stuff like that. But you know what really taught me and got me to where I'm at? My knowledge of history, my own history, of who I am. Because nobody can trick you if you know the history. And being a researcher and looking up things so you're not confused. See, this is why you have so many different conscious movements and stuff like that, and people want to be famous and all of that, because you're not happy in who you are as a person. So you feel like the TV is going to validate who you are, and that's going to help you to leave a mark in society because you made it on television and X, Y, Z, whatever the case may be. So now, since you made it on television, all these people like you, and that's leaving your mark in society. You can leave your mark in society in this type of world because people are so lost by just knowing who you are and demonstrating that and carrying yourself that way. So I'm a Yamasee because they switched the name to Cherokee after a period of time, and the Yamasee's, the original ones, were pushed out all the way down to Florida, going into Jamaica and Haiti and all of that. Even they call them the Maroons. There's another name for them. This is the bloodline that I come from. We were Maroons. Some people say Moors or whatever, and then even Wachita Moors had ties with all these bloodlines intermingled and mixed. They had treaties. But originally, it all was about the story that took place in Georgia, where Fulton County is very significant. Those people that know about Fulton County, very important, was a dividing line between Fulton and DeKalb County. And if your ancestors had land in DeKalb County, you were considered a Cherokee after they split the land up. If your ancestors had land in Fulton County, you were really considered a Wachita Moor, and that was the dividing line going all the way from Fulton County all the way over to New Orleans and Poverty Point down there, and I've been down there. And why do you think the Federal Reserve in Atlanta, Georgia governs all of that land in Mississippi and all of that? Why is that all governed by the Atlanta Federal Reserve, and it's way out there, and it's not governed by Texas and Dallas? There's parts of it. There's the southern part of Louisiana that's governed by Dallas, Texas Federal Reserve, which is going into a whole other story, but it's a reason for that because that ties in with land. And Federal Reserve deals with money. You see, so this is what I'm talking about. So as far as you knowing that and knowing who you are, then you can get into the economics part. Everybody's saying they want to be sovereign and this and that. You don't even know who you are for real. So I challenge you between now and then to figure out exactly who you are. And then once you figure out exactly who you are, start to demonstrate yourself like that. See, the set I claim is Yamasee. That's what I claim all day. And I claim Washington too as well. But, according to mitochondrial DNA, we trace ourselves back to our mother's bloodline first, and then our father's bloodline secondly. And with that being said, on my mother's side, we were Yamasee'S. I'm not going to reveal, going to time. I told you I was Wachita, so obviously on my father's side, we're Wachita. So, of course, I pay homage to both. And I'll talk about Wachitas later. I'll talk all about that later, but I'm not going to really focus on that right now. I'm trying to focus on the Yamasee'S because they're a very popular tribe. And they got these counties like Cherokee County and all over the country and things of that nature. You thinking that they're Cherokees and they was really Yamasee'S. You may think you're a Seminole, you was really a Yamasee. Why does the Federal Reserve in Atlanta govern the land all the way down in Florida even? It's a lot of land associated with the Atlanta Federal Reserve, y'all. If you really think about it, a lot of states associated with that. And that's because they were all tied in with this Yamasee Wachita thing. So between the Federal Reserve and then the Wachita land goes from, I'll talk about the Wachitas here in this video as well too. The Wachita land goes from, like I said, from Fulton County all the way west. So they got Wachitas is a rich bloodline. Really richer than the Yamasee'S. The only reason why they gave the Yamasee'S so much authority is because the Yamasee'S were or the Cherokees is actually what they started calling themselves. They were more diplomatic, and they decided to work with the federal government. So the federal government acknowledges Cherokees more than any other Native American nation. Did you guys know that? More than any Native American bloodline, the Cherokees are more so acknowledged. But the Ouachita's, they were titled, their trust names and stuff is titled with that Louisiana Purchase. That's a whole, they don't even want to deal with that because they didn't even pay them all their money. They still owe the Ouachita's money. They ain't even paid that off yet. You see, they was giving their land, like all that stuff that's going on up in Ferguson and all that, that's because of the karma associated with the Louisiana Purchase. And these bloodlines really are related, and it was like, you became a Ouachita or Yamasee, it was like they had to draw a line, like this y'all land right here, starting from Fulton County all the way over to going to California. So all of the Federal Reserves tied with that, the Dallas Federal Reserve, and namely the San Francisco Federal Reserve, the Kansas City Federal Reserve, and the St. Louis Federal Reserve, all of that's tied in with the Ouachita bloodline. All of that. And all the states up under that. Because the Federal Reserves are the true nations when you talk about banking. So if you want to nationalize your economy, you have to begin to research these different Federal Reserves and the states that are up under these different Federal Reserves. And the books have to be balanced. The land that you guys use to build your railroads, whatever you do, or as a mine for your goals so that you can say that that's part of a national economy, you'll have to pay certain indigenous people based on certain treaties and things of that nature to do that. And that's why they haven't touched the resources here, because it's a thing that they don't really want to touch. It could cause a civil war, man. What do you think the Civil War was over before? And people think, well, that was about slavery. It was black people fighting the Civil War. Oh, they was just fighting because of the fact that they was fighting up under the white man. They were slaves or whatever. No. You don't even know what the Confederacy is about. I had to do another video on that. See, Americans need to learn you got history, and people, foreigners that come over here, you need to learn our history over here too. That's the problem. That's why the economy is going to melt down and the game is being played, because you don't know nothing. So I guarantee you, if you guys start to research who you are and figure out your bloodline, those people that don't know, and you start to create connections with your ancestors based upon who you are, even Mexicans. Say, for instance, you may be a Mexican. You're part of the Aztec bloodline. You're part of the Navajo bloodline. You had deals, you mixed in with Chinese in a certain period of time. The Chinese came over here, and you had land over and had ties to land over in California. Along with, don't get me wrong, along with Ouachita Moors too as well. We had ties with all these different tribes, and they came over here and mixed in, the Mexicans and stuff like that. And the Chinese came in and mixed in, and the Indians came in and mixed in, more so out west in those lands, even down in Jamaica and stuff like that. When I say Indians, I'm talking about people from India, the country of India. This is why Christopher Columbus thought that he was coming to India, or he was calling us Indians. That's why you think that Native Americans are Indians. That's wrong. Indians are from India. We had our own nations. We're not Indians. Don't let them fool you with that. They rechanged, and he named it the West Indies over there in Jamaica and all of that. So figure out where you came from. First and foremost, that's going to help you with this whole economic thing, because it's very important. It's very important. I'm telling you, if you just guys just figure out where you came from and know where you came from, and then and our minds begin to align based off of knowing where we came from and figuring out what type of star constellations your ancestors, once you know where you came from, what stars did they align themselves with? Did they align themselves with the Sirius star constellation? Did they align themselves with the Pleiades star constellation? So this is how it ties in with the starseed movement, because you talk about the Pleiades and aliens and stuff. Native Americans were the first groups of people that built relationships with the Pleiadians and stuff like that. We got documented history proving this. Out west, the Navajo out west, they built forums and pacts with the Pleiadians. The Yamasee'S had pacts with the Syrians long ago. So this stuff is important, like just knowing where you came from and being able to demonstrate that. If you want to offset these problems that are coming, you need to know your bloodline. If you don't, choose a bloodline then that you want to align with, a star group that aligns with a different Native American group or any form. It don't have to be Native American or any indigenous tribe on this planet. Choose the tribe that you want to align with then. If you can't figure it out and you got medical records that was burnt up in the church and your parents, you can't figure it out, then just choose one at the end of the day. And once you choose one, align with that, and you'll notice that if our minds align and we begin to think about the earth and the land and where we came from, this will heal the earth, and this will heal a lot of the financial problems that are happening. We'll begin to do business and trade with each other again instead of fighting each other and going to war with each other and stuff like that. You know, that's what it's all about. War ain't good for nobody. It ain't never good for business, but it's good for some in business that have invested interest in seeing you fight each other because they don't ever want to pay people what they owe, these different family names, so they'd rather see you fighting because that's making them money at the end of the day. These false kings. You ain't no king calling yourself a king. You don't even know your bloodline. Probably ain't start thinking about this till you start watching my channel. But you calling yourself a king and a queen and all these people in the conscious community. How could you be a king or a queen? You don't even know where you came from. Because I just know because I'm special. It ain't about being special at the end of the day. It's about knowing where you came from. That's what makes me famous. That's what makes me, I call myself, like, shout out to my man Drake. We underground kings. That's what makes me famous because I care about the people, want to build a connection with the people. I'm not trying to sit up in this big-ass house and then not trying to help my fellow man down here. You'll be surprised at the amount of people that I help. I'm a philanthropist. My very presence helps you. Real talk. So that's how I designed myself to be. And this is not bragging. I don't need to be popular and famous at the end of the day. You need to figure out who you are at the end of the day so we can solve these problems. So that's the solution. Stop worrying about the problem and it's going to melt down and what we going to do. Because there's an eclipse coming up too with it. With this Mercury retro. Oh yeah, this is about to be a deep month. I'm putting this out for a reason. Going through another shift, going deeper into this thing, the rabbit hole gets deeper. So figure out where you came from. That's the solution. I'm a healer. You know, I'm all about healing the people or whatever at the end of the day of their problems and their ills. And knowledge is the ultimate medicine. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll leave you in the hotel. Namaste. To, of course, all my hood niggas, gotta send a shout out to y'all. We out.